and those who continue to suffer racial discrimination.
Hit the link, guys.
Let our vote on this resolution restore their dignity and humanity.
In favor, 123, against 3, abstentions 52. Therefore, draft resolution A/80/L48 is adopted.
We will never forget the victims.
Favor, 120.
Look at this. Voting result in the UN headquarters in the United States of America. Those in favor of recognizing that slavery was a crime to humanity. I'm surprised that it wasn't already recognized as that. Those in favor, 123 countries. It's talking about countries there. You know, at the power of consent over here, countries are corporations. Those against, 3. And abstination means they have not voted for, or against. That's 52. But there's 123 countries who are in favor. Guess who the 3 corporations and countries are? Put it in the chat if you know. It's the United States of America, Argentina, and the 3rd is Israel. 3 countries saying no to making slavery a crime against humanity. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. No. Well, guess what? Here's something else. Listen, some of you are going to hate the power of consent after this. I'm going to have to talk the whole truth now. When it comes to reparations, we have to speak truth today. Yeah? And when we speak truth, it doesn't mean we hate anyone. We're just speaking the truth. Now, I'm going to ask you all a question. If we shouldn't pay tax because we are still due reparations, who is reparations due for? Is it due for all Black people, or is it just due for those who are the descendants of the enslaved, the imprisoned, and the kidnapped? Be honest with me. What do you reckon? Put it in the chat. Who's due reparations? Are all Black people and indigenous people due reparations? Or is it just a certain portion of Black people, indigenous people that should be getting reparations? Yeah? Because we don't care what anyone says. A crime is a crime. And when you commit a crime, the victims must be in some way compensated. Who are the victims of slavery? Is it all Africans, all Blacks? And I'm going to break the news to you. No, it's not all Black people. So therefore, not all Black people can get the claim for reparations due to slavery, but maybe, just maybe, reparations for colonization. So the question I have to ask, and we have to ask at the power of consent here, is why did it take the Ghanaian Prime Minister to go all the way to the UN to say this? Why did it take for him to do that? Huh? Why did the president of Ghana have to go all the way to the UN to talk about reparations? Was Ghana involved in slavery in any way? And that's the president, the current president of the day is John Mahama. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. If I'm wrong, tell me. The president of Ghana. Why? Because before we get into that, let's just talk about one of the chief beneficiaries of the slave trade. Who knew that
Two things can be true at the same time. That's one of the complexities of history. And The Guardian has a traditional origin story, which is that the newspaper...
We have to identify who were the actual beneficiaries of the crime if we're going to get reparations. This all ties in to you and I setting up a trust. Did you know that the assets that were stolen during slavery and colonization are all under trust? Did you know the Horniman Museum, the British Museum, the British Library, all are under a trust? The NHS is under a trust. And then these trusts are holding what is due to us in assets, in trust. Did you know that? Gone are the days of just marching for reparations. We got to understand the system.
It was founded by John Edward Taylor after the Peterloo massacre of 1819.
The man that started the Guardian newspaper was a chief beneficiary and slave owner. Did you know this? Right here in England, Manchester, the Guardian newspaper was started by a man who was involved in slavery. I have to get his name. 1 second.
Remains true. But in parallel to that story is the fact that Taylor and many of the fellow investors in The Guardian were Manchester cotton brokers, and that their fortunes were derived from the processing of slave-produced cotton. And The Guardian, like thousands of institutions in Britain, has direct financial...
The man that was a slave owner, he was a cotton merchant. Go and look this up, please. People, pen and papers, smartphones, tablets, laptops, go and look this up. A cotton merchant by the name of John Edward Taylor, who had ties with slavery. Yeah? Taylor and most of his earlier backers profited from the slave trade using capital derived from raw cotton. That's the plantations of the Caribbean people. That's your Guardian newspaper.
Connections to the world of slavery. That reality can't be negotiated with. It can't be explained away. This history can never be solved, can never be remedied, but it can be, something good can come from it, but it needs to be a dialogue. And we will find it difficult, we'll make mistakes, we'll find ourselves in very difficult conversations. But this should be difficult, because this history is terrible. And this history is something that is as much part of the story of The Guardian as anything else that we might celebrate or might want to remember. So over the past few decades, and especially since 2020, the summer of the murder of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, there has been something of a reckoning in British history. The way most organisations, the way Britain as a whole for the most part has thought about slavery is to not think about it, to brush it under the carpet, to keep it in the margins. It is now being dragged from the historical shadows. It's being placed...
By the way, an apology means you're taking some accountability and responsibility. That means you're liable. Notice that Britain has not apologized. They didn't apologize. They opted out. It was 123, and there was 3 countries. Remember, I told you it was Israel, America, and the other country was Argentina. The ones that are in absence of putting a vote forward was Britain. Britain didn't say yay or nay. They know that if they apologize, they are liable. Did you know the Lloyds of London have apologized as well as the Guardian newspaper? Did you know you should go and write out your reparations claim? Oh my God, we're talking about trusts tonight. Your children should inherit what your ancestors and forefathers have done to build this country. Don't you think you deserve that, brothers and sisters, family? There are companies alive or operating now who are chief beneficiaries of slavery. We're talking about trusts again tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go on now. So book club, we've been reading the Living Trust book, All You Ever Need by Garriott Monroe. This is what we've been reading because Black people, we've been told we don't read enough. So this is why we've established book club, to inspire you all to read, to become excited about gathering knowledge and information. Because if you're going to become great, you're going to have to read. There's no way around it. We have to read, family, to understand the language and the word spells that have been placed on us. This is why we have book club. Excuse me. So we have our sister Charmaine Simpson in the building. Welcome, sis. We're going to do a quick quiz. Family, based upon what you've learned, trustee structure. We have a quick quiz here. A, what is a trustee? Put it in a chat. Is it a person who receives benefits from a trust? B, a person or entity responsible for managing a trust and its assets? C, a government official who registers trusts? D, someone who lends money to the trust. Put it in the chat. I want to see in the chat. Which one is it, family? Come on. And greetings and shout out to Samina, who's here, who will be going and delving deep, doing a deep dive into trusts tonight. So people say A, B, a person or entity responsible for managing a trust or assets. Or A, a person who receives benefits. Look at the wording. What is a trustee? Look at the wording. So most people say B. Let's have a look. It is in fact B, family. It's B. What is a beneficiary? What is a beneficiary? A, a person who creates the trust. B, a person or group who receives benefits from the trust. C, the person who manages the trust assets. D, a lawyer who writes the trust agreement. Which one is it, family? A, B, C, or D? As we get crack-a-lacking, is it B, a person or group who receives benefits from the trust? Most people put in B. It is in fact B. Well done. Shout out to you. Now, question 3. What is an asset or property? We went into this last Thursday. Is it A, something owned that has value? B, a document used to create a trust? C, only land and buildings? D, a bank employee who manages money? Which one is it, ladies and gentlemen? A, B, C, D. Most people are saying A, something owned that has value. Most people saying A. You sure it's not B, a document used to create a trust? No, you're absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. It is A, something owned that has value. Listen to me. We're talking a little bit about reparations before we bring in our Queen Charmaine. Your ancestors was property. For those of you who your ancestors were kidnapped, your ancestors were property. Therefore, they were assets in slavery. Look at the image, the picture coming from Roots, Alex Haley, who had a conversation with Malcolm X, by the way, which inspired Alex Haley to go and write the book Roots, and then a whole movie, TV series was made. You remember that very clearly. For those of you who watched it and went to school the next day, you did beat up a bag of white people, poor white people, then you beat them up. But listen, we were known as property and assets. We were property, the names and everything, the documents. We were made property and assets. Yeah, we talk about the birth certificate, the name. If you look at your birth certificate, you'll see that it's owned by the Crown Corporation. The Crown Corporation is a trust. Should I have a slide to show you that? It's a trust. It's the same trust that owns the land, all 3 billion pounds worth of it. The royal family own that under trust. They escape tax like that. But guess what? Has slavery ended, family? For those of you that joined in book club, has slavery ended? For those of you that read How to Know Your Straw Man, is slavery still going on? No, slavery hasn't ended. We are still enslaved via the name game today. It is your name that gets you attached to the system. Your first and last name, they call it the surname, but really it's your family name. And what they did to Kunta was change his name over to the property of the slave masters. If you look at the pictures, you can also see some so-called brothers, they're not brothers, who are helping to capture Kunta. This is a true story. Going back to Ghana now and what they announced at the UN. Ghana, do they have a right to even speak on this if Ghana, not all, shout out to my brothers and sisters in Africa, if the absolute chiefs, tribes, people were involved in the help of the capture of our ancestors, yes, then they are they the beneficiaries or the trustees? See, should a beneficiary be speaking about slavery? Or should it be those who are the victims who are made into assets and properties? Should it be them speaking, their descendants speaking about slavery? For real now. Because this is our claim. No disrespect to no other group of brothers and sisters. They have a claim too, which is colonial reparations, I believe. But when it comes to slavery, that's a unique claim that not all Black people can say, yes, you owe money to me when you're not a descendant. That's the problem I have. I'm going to be honest. Most people missed that with the speech of the brother who spoke about slavery in the UN. You are from Ghana, and Ghana, unfortunately, tribes in Africa, not all, some were involved in the helping of the capturing of our ancestors. This is true. So who were the beneficiaries of slavery? You have Great Britain, you have America, you have France, you have the Netherlands, you have these two amigos, you have the Spanish, you have Portugal, and yes, unfortunately, yes, Ghana, the kingdom of the Ashantis were involved in helping to capture some of our ancestors, as you can see here in this imagery. These men helping to catch Kunta. So the Ashanti tribe were beneficiaries, the Ashanti kingdom, excuse me, empire, the 18th, 19th centuries in modern day Ghana was a powerful West African state whose economy was heavily reliant on slavery. Go and research this. Don't believe what we're saying here. Go and research this for yourself, both for agricultural domestic labor and as a major export commodity in what? In the Atlantic slave trade. The empire obtained enslaved people primarily through warfare. Go and check out Queen Nzinga. Oh, sorry, I'm messing up some of our history lessons here. But go and check out Queen Nzinga. She was involved in this as well. Facts. Territory expansion, and as tribute from conquered territories with an estimate of 6,000 to 7,000 sold annually. So if you count from the 18th century to the 19th century, do the math, how many was being helped by the Ashanti Empire to capture our ancestors. Not all Africans, by the way, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there were tribes who were involved in the helping of capturing us and making us into property, thus making the Ashantis beneficiaries of the assets. Do you understand now? Slavery was all about a trust and a deal set up between different kingdoms, as well as Britain, France, Portugal, Spain, and what is now known as the United States. This is facts. So all parties involved have to be accountable today. All parties. So this brother here speaking, I'm sorry, but brother, you should relinquish the rush, or at least you should have included in your speech that we want to fight for reparations for those in the diaspora. Because unfortunately, some kingdoms were involved, that their homies were involved. Benin Empire was involved. Yeah, there's a man called Timbuktu. Go and Google Timbuktu, a West African enslaver, was involved. That should have been a part of the speech as well. Everybody involved, all parties involved have to be accountable. And in truth, those of you who want to buy land in the motherland in Africa, should you really have to buy land if you're a victim of slavery? Denmark, that's right, sister. Should you have to buy citizenship and residency if you were in fact a descendant and are in fact a descendant of the enslaved, of those imprisoned? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. And this is why we need to set up a trust, because we need to get ready for the amount of funds that are coming to us. And I'm so serious. Even in the Bible, it states that the wealth of the righteous, go and check this out. Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaveth inheritance to his children's children. Yeah, generational wealth. And the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So, should Ghana receive reparations? Should Ghana, in fact, receive reparations if the Ashanti tribe was a part of helping to capture our ancestors? This is a subject matter that we will go into, and it's not to express hate towards any brothers or sisters or anyone. No, we're just simply speaking truth today. Because if we're going to go for our reparations claim, we have to be specific. We can't be homogenous. We have to be specific so that the victims can be compensated. It's not for all. Sorry, that's just the truth. And this is why I'm against the term, with all due respect, I'm against the term just saying that we're all African. Why do I say that? Because guess what? White people can be Africans too. By citizenship rights, they can be African. So if we say Africans need to have reparations, then Elon Musk can put in his claim too. Charlize Theron, the actress who is African-American, who was born in South Africa, can put in a claim. So we can't be ambiguous or vague with the terms of the language in our claim. We have to be very specific. And this is why I'm opting for terms like foundational Black British, foundational Black British Caribbeans. We have to be specific with the lineage. Also, for the Nigerian brothers and sisters, we can't get a claim from Nigeria, if you're not Nigerian, for the BP or Shell petrol crisis that took place in Nigeria that killed Nigerian brothers and sisters. It's for those of the Nigerian lineage. Likewise for South Africans, for the colonization of the Dutch, who colonized that region and mined out a whole heap of minerals and left the South African brothers and sisters dilapidated. They need reparations. I, as a Jamaican, one of a Jamaican lineage, I can't latch on to their reparations. So reparations and compensation has to be specific. It can't be with vague terms and titles. Do you follow me, brothers and sisters? Yeah? Yeah. So go ahead and watch this video on YouTube on the Power of Consent channel on should Ghana receive reparations for the slave trade if they were involved. And you will see on that video how they were involved via their way of the Ashanti Kingdom and other tribes like the Fanti tribe. They were involved as well. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. So, who owes us reparations? By the way, in our trust, we should put these things. I would say that banks and financial institutions today, you know, people say, oh, we ain't got nothing to do with slavery. We weren't there. We didn't do it. Well, Barclays Bank, the director's predecessor firm linked to slave ownership. Oh, my God, for those of you who are banking with Barclays. These are the people we can write, get a claim to. HSBC linked through the predecessor investors tied to the plantation economies, which were in the Caribbean. Lloyd's Banking Group, some predecessor companies connected. Did you know this, family? These are the people that, if you're brave enough, you can write a claim to them. If you're brave enough, set up a trust while doing that, though, family. We're going to go into this deeper another time. Who owes us reparations? NatWest Group. NM Rothschilds and Son. NM stands for Nathan Meyer Rothschilds, by the way, historically linked to the individuals in the slave compensation records. They're based in the City of London. All of these banking groups are based in the City of London. They made their wealth from slavery. The predecessor banks, directors owned slaves or financed plantation. They got their finances to start their banking groups from slavery. So now we can call names. These are the who are they? The beneficiaries or the trustees, family? Who are they? The beneficiaries or the trustees? Come on and talk to me. All right. Who owes us reparations? Lloyds of London. They've even said on a video on YouTube that yes, we were a part of slavery and we benefited from it. The Royal African Company, one of the largest slave trading companies in history. We need to be getting claims out to them. St. John D. L. Ray Mining Company used enslaved labor of Brazil. It goes deep, family. Long after the British abolition. So to the Brazilian family, you go ahead and get your claims out to them. Let's take a brave step. You have money. You have assets waiting for you. Your ancestors worked for it. You should inherit it. Media and publishing, Guardian Media Group. We just said that, didn't we not? Founders were connected to the cotton trade produced by enslaved people and later issued an apology program. Where's cotton grown? Law firms, and professional firms. Freshfields, Bruckhaus, Diringer, sounds German. Let me read that properly. Historic connections via clients and investors linked to slave ownership. Who are those clients? Did you know that The Guardian reported in 2015 that people that used to own slave plantations were getting compensated? To this day, we have received no compensation, those of us who are the descendants of the enslaved. And I'm telling you, we are millionaires. Our ancestors have worked for us, man. We can fight off tax. We can get reparations, but we need to prepare a structure. It needs to be lineage-based. It needs to be structure-based. We need to have a trust. Yeah, because we are going to inherit wealth. It says it's been written by the ancestors, man. You're entitled to it for those of you who are descendants of the enslaved. And then for those of you who are colonized. That's a different form of reparations, but nonetheless. So this is a millionaire mindset to believe that you can get it. This is a book that we're going to read after we finish reading the book by Garrett Monroe on the Living Trust. Because most of us, if we're honest, we really don't believe that we deserve millions. We really don't believe that we deserve wealth. We really don't believe that, all of this hard free labor that my ancestors done, I don't deserve. Yes, you do. You are to inherit it. It is your inheritance. That's why you must think like a millionaire, and millionaires set up trusts. And